Hello students, so today, very first thing we're going to want to do is recall some transformations before we even start our information. So remember back beginning of this year, we covered parabolas. And in that parabola, we realized the translations, which made it really easy for us to graph functions. So if we had y equals x squared plus 2, remember that went up 2, right? Because it was on the back half of the equation. This one went negative, so it was down 5, right? Remember, when it was inside, it didn't go up or down, it went left or right. Remember, it was always opposite of what you thought. So since it was negative, you would have said, oh, that's left. No, remember, it's opposite. So we're going to go right 1. This is a double move. So very first thing, we're going to move left 3, because it's positive inside, and up 4. So keep that in mind as we go through our information today with graphing sine and cosine functions when you have a vertical shift. So you should have those notes printed out that I gave you today. You're going to want to figure out and determine the amplitude, determine the period. This is how the steps are what we're going to do here. So step 1, determine the amplitude. Remember, that was your absolute value of your A. Determine the period, you're going to go 2 pi divided by whatever the b value was. The increment, that was the period, divided by 4. And determine the vertical shift. That's going to be whatever your k value is at the back half here. Now, you can go up and you can go down. It all depends on if it's positive or negative. Once you figure that all out, you're going to draw the horizontal line y equals k. That's going to be called the midline of the graph. Basically, in all actuality, it's your new x-axis that we're going to use. You're going to then use the information from steps 1 through 4 to graph the 2 periods of the graph, labeling the axes accordingly. So let's actually take a look at a graph like this. So I need to find the amplitude, the period, the increment, and the vertical shift. So my amplitude is 3. My period is going to be 2 pi divided by 2, because that's my b, right? So my period's 4. My increment would be pi divided by 4. My vertical shift, you look at the back half here, I have a negative 2. So I'm going to go down 2 from my original axis. So I'm going to go here, go down. Now, just like last time, I have a color for my amplitude. You're going to want to have a color for your particular vertical shift. I'm going to make my color purple. So my vertical shift from 0 is saying to go down 2. So 1, 2. So right here, drawing my axis here. Whoa, that's pretty bouncy. Is going to be my new x-axis in all actuality. So now from there, I can figure out my amplitude. So it's going to be from here up 3 and down 3. So 1, 2, or no, 1, messed up here a little bit. So I went down already 2. So 1, 2, 3, and then down 3. 1, 2, 3. So that'll be 2, 3, 4. Negative 5, right? Alright, now I'm going to put in my amplitude markings. So this is as high as my graph can get. And this is as low as my graph can get. There we go. Now, when marking in your periods or your increments, you could put it on the x-axis. I have found I have a whole lot of trouble trying to figure out where I'm going to go through. So I would put it on the new vertical shift axis. Okay, so right here I'm going to start at pi over 4, go next to 2 pi over 4, which is pi out of 2, 3 pi out of 4, and then pi. So that's one period right there. Let's go another period. So that's going to be 5 pi out of 4, 3 pi out of 2, because that would be 6 pi over 4. 7 pi out of 2, and then 2 pi. Make my graph. So I'm going through sine, so he's going to go through 0, 0. No, not 0, 0 here, the 0, 0 that you move to, right? So it's going to go through here. And it's going to take all the way up to my blue line, bounce there, go down, but through my purple line, okay? Bounce back through, hit that, go through the purple, bounce at blue, go through purple, bounce at blue, go through the purple, and done. So what purple allows you to do now is figure out where is going to be your axis, basically your new x-axis. Your domain is still all reals. Your range, though, your range got a little messed up. Most of us would have thought, well, it's -3 to 3, but since I'm going to change where my axis is, it's going to change. So that's going to be from -5 to 1. That's why it's nice to have those marked in, so that way you can actually figure out the range at the end. Alright, let's figure out this one. So I got cosine. Whoa, hold on though. I got a negative. So let's kind of keep that in mind that we have a negative there. My amplitude would be the absolute value of -1, which is just 1. But just keep in mind that it's negative, okay? Period. My period will be 2 pi divided by my b, which is 4. So my period is pi over 2. So then pi over 2 divided by 4. Now, take that on your calculator quick, and you will get 1/8, or pi over 8. In my vertical shift, I'm going up 1. So let's go ahead and graph this puppy. Use my purple to do my new x-axis. I'm going to go up 1 for my new x-axis, because that's what they told me my vertical shift was. There we go. Now I gotta do my amplitude. So I'm gonna go up 1 to get me 2, down 1, which is basically my old x-axis. Marking my blue lines. Whoa, that's a really bad blue line. Let's try again. They don't need to be perfectly straight, but try to make them kind of straight. There's one blue line, and I'm going to cover up the black here with my another blue line. There we go. So now, let's label our increments. I have pi out of 8. So pi over 8 here. 2 pi out of 8, which is pi over 4. 3 pi out of 8. And then 4 pi out of 8, which is pi out of 2. 5 pi over 8. 6 pi out of 8 is 3 pi over 4. Right here, 7 pi out of 8, and then 8 pi out of 8, which is pi. Oh, forgot to mark that. That's 0. There we go. So now I'm doing a cosine. But now, remember, that was that negative. Now, if you remember what the negative did in front of a parabola, it allowed us to flip our function around, right? Instead of having upward facing you, you had a downward guy. Same thing happens. So normally this guy would have started here, right? Well, since he's flipped, he's not going to start there, but he's going to start down here. So we're going to start down there, bounce there, go through, and it's going to continue its same path that it normally would have, but it's going to be flipped from what it normally, originally would have been graphed like. There we go. Okay, so be careful. I always put, whenever I do my work, I always go flipped if I see that negative in front. That way I don't forget about flipping it around. So my domain, still all reals, always will be, but my range, I'm going from 0 to 2. So 0, 2. And that's the end of this video. This is Miss Marsh, signing off.